What an amazing affirmation. I live in the goodness of God. Wow. If we could just say that and start stepping into it all the time, because there is no, it doesn't really matter what conditions or experiences are happening right now in our personal lives. There's no more goodness of God than there is right here and right now. Because everywhere God is, which is everywhere, that energy that you heard in the beautiful reading you were doing this morning, the sharing from Ernest Holmes, Madeline, it was wonderful about the qualities of God and goodness, that's all in its fullness right here. The mystics get that. The mystics have done the work to understand their unity with that infinite presence we call creative potential, we call universal spirit, we call God. They've done that work to go deep and tap in, because this journey, actually we're all on, the human evolutionary journey, is actually not an external journey as much as an internal journey. It's a journey inward to connect with our unity with spirit and with all life. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest geniuses of the 20th century, when he was asked in his later years if there's anything he regretted, he said, "I'd wished I'd learned more about the mystics earlier in my life." Because when we get that mystical thinking, it really lightens our life, it lifts us up, it lets us see the goodness of life in all things. Deep within all of us, there's a mystic. Let me out, I want to come, I want to be here, I want to be part of the party. It's in there waiting, because that mystic knows our journey, our whole human experience is about that journey upward to unifying with spirit and with one another. That's our journey, and it's there in us. Meister Eckhart, Thomas Aquinas, Julian of Norwich, Mitchtild of Magdeburg, Ernest Holmes, and of course the ultimate mystic who absolutely knew without question his oneness with God, Jesus. But I'm going to take a little step sideways to one of my favorite mystics too. You know, my favorite mystic is Rumi, but his buddy a century later, a 13th century Sufi mystic, is Hafez. And our mystics, they know they're here to practice, of course, to keep that connection strong, and to be in service, to share what they know, because they want all of humanity to be uplifted. And as Madeline was saying, also, we're here to be this individualized expression. We won't all have the same mystical experience or share the same gifts, just like the trees are all different. All of us are different in our expressions. But I love this reading from Hafez. It's called "Each Soul Completes Me." My beloved said, "My name is not complete without yours." I thought, how could a man's worth be of such value? And God, knowing all our thoughts are actually innocent on this beautiful path of life, then addressed my heart. God revealed a sublime truth to the world when he sang, "I am made whole by your life. Each soul completes me." So if we ever have a question of why we're here, it's to be the vessel and the vehicle in which this all-knowing infinite spirit gives expression in life. We are born to express and to share of ourselves. But it's not such an easy task, because I don't know about you, but this physical world is pretty seductive. It's pretty tantalizing, and it gets us pulled in, and we start telling stories about life. We start telling stories about life's limitations, what's wrong with life, what's not good, who's doing this, who's doing that, and we get a picture of life And many of our pictures are very small and limited, and then we step into that picture and let it entrap us. And then we get all caught up in the stories we tell, and we forget how amazing we are. We've all heard this reading. It's one from Marianne Williamson, and actually Nelson Mandela used it in his acceptance speech in South Africa for his presidency. But I want you to listen to these words, because every time we hear something we've heard before, we can listen to them at a deeper level, something deeper. And I want you to really hear these, because every time I read this from her or hear it, it always touches me in a new place. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant and gorgeous and talented? And I ask you, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, and just as all children shine, we are to shine too. Your playing small does not serve the world, and there's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We were born, and this is what Hafez was saying, we were born to make manifest the glory of God. That's why we're here on this journey, to continue remembering who we are. It's not just in some of us, this God essence, it's in all of us. As we shine our own light, we unconsciously give other people the permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fears, we automatically liberate others. We must expand our story and amplify our awareness. Now, amplify, think about when you're going to amplify something, what it means you're going to do. You're going to make it bigger and stronger and more prominent. We need to amplify our awareness, and our awareness means, Ernest Holmes says, awareness and consciousness and God are all the same. It's the same meaning. So we have to amplify our awareness, our consciousness, the way we think. I thought when I read that about the astronauts who were lifting to the moon and traveling to the moon, and on their way back, they could get this bigger perspective of the Earth and the people in it. And it didn't look like a bunch of separated consciousness. It looked like one unified expression, one big expression of spirit woven together. And it was awe-inspiring. And as we can lift ourselves to a new way of being and thinking about life and our place in it, we get that same feeling of being lifted and expanded into something new. When we recognize how powerful we are, you know, our beliefs really create our experience. We'll see it when we believe it. It's true. We'll see something when we believe it's possible. So we need to expand our beliefs about what life really is, what's going on here. Our thoughts come from our beliefs and are empowered by our feelings, and our thoughts are creative. We're creators, and we're constantly creating something. We have to be really aware of what we are creating. Where are we putting these little word containers, these little powerhouses filled with this invisible energy? What are we planting in our mind and programming in our mind and dropping into our heart? What are we doing to create the life we're living? If we think of them, you know, Jesus loved to talk in parables, loved parables, because parables were stories that could be told and listened to at different levels. So wherever you were, you could understand the parable right there. And he told the parable of the sower, who is a farmer who went out to sow his seeds. And the seeds are like our thoughts, seeds. And the soil is our consciousness. So when I tell the parable, think of where your consciousness is right now. How receptive are you to the seeds of goodness that we can use, or the seeds of fear that we can also use? So the farmer went out with his seeds, and he threw some seeds, and they fell on the path, and the birds ate them. And he threw some seeds on rocky soil. And of course, the rocky soil didn't have much soil. It was very shallow. So when the seed grew, which it didn't have roots, tiny, tiny roots. So when the sun came, it got scorched. And then he threw some of the seeds on thorns. And the thorns, because as they grew, they choked the plant. Now think about that. We can have good in our life and we choke it by our feelings of doubt, insecurity, we're not good enough, we can choke it. Some of times the seeds of goodness don't even get planted because we don't let them in. But when the farmer threw the seeds on the good soil, it not only produced a crop, but it produced a crop that was way more abundant than just the seeds. 160, 30 times greater than the seeds that were thrown. And at the end of that, Jesus said, let those with ears hear. Meaning we have to prepare ourselves to hear the goodness, to take responsibility for our life, to do our part. It's up to us. And I'll have to tell you, expanding our consciousness is not easy work. I'm sure you all know that. We have to work hard at it. It's hard work. And Mark Nepo, who I would consider a contemporary mystic, he said, I'll tell you what he said. He said something very important. We must learn how to float. I forgot that one. I guess I'm not doing so well. We must learn how to float. And to float, what does it mean? We have to stop struggling. He says a bird cannot fly without opening its wings. Where do we need to stop struggling and let go of whatever thoughts we have that are keeping us down, whatever we're attaching to our experiences that keep them heavy? What do we need to let go of? What thoughts do we have to drop of separation or lack or not enoughness? And where do we need to spread our wings, open up to be more accepting and available? But he also said, and no one can love without exposing their heart. And that can be a scary thing. Because when we expose our hearts, we can get hurt. If we have expectations of how we think things are supposed to be, people are supposed to react, what's supposed to happen, we can get hurt. Mother Teresa said, in the silence of our heart, God speaks. And so what's going on in our heart matters. So we need to really be careful what we're doing with the condition of our heart. So, you know, when we say it's work, what kind of work do we need to do to really develop this connection, this mystical experience, this inward journey, right where spirit lives, God lives, that divine urge, whatever we call it is, that keeps us in a greater understanding and awareness of life. It's something we need to do daily. And as Mother Teresa said, in the silence. So we have to spend time silent daily. And not just with our mouths closed, but with our mind softened. And what I do, I let my mind rest on my heart. And we hear and we read that God is as close as our breath. We can let out the thoughts. So we have the space. And we have to see what condition our heart is in. You know, our heart, if it's hardened because we haven't done our work to resolve hurts and pains, we're not going to have any room to hear God speak. And Mother Teresa also went on to say, and listening is the first step of prayer. So we have to listen to the message first. But if our heart is hardened, or our hearts can be kind of hollow if we're really involved with ourselves, oh, it's all about me, 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 and we get greedy, and there's so much of that in the world today. These hollow hearts, don't listen to those musical, magical words that keep us in the goodness of God either. Or we can do the half-heart thing where we do our prayer and meditation in the morning, and then we go out and get all distracted by the world during the day. You know what I mean? So we lose that and we forget that. But we want the whole heart where we're fully available to that goodness of spirit. That's there for us. So I want you to just think right now, what is the condition of the heart you have right now? Because in this moment, we have everything we need. There's nothing more we need right now than what we have. There's a divine partnership that's available. Just what I said Hafez was talking about, it's there for us. We have to open to it. So if we're doing our work to really amplify our consciousness, to really think before we speak, to think before we react, so we respond in a new consciousness, what's going to happen to us if we really have this amplified awareness? We'll be gentler. That's a test. Am I really having amplified awareness? Am I gentle? Am I humble? Am I coming from a place of compassion and understanding? Do I have self-control, where I'm not just reacting to life and everything I see or hear? Or am I not reacting, but I can settle in and put things in perspective? There's a way to really test how amplified our awareness is and where we need to go and what we need to do to get there. God said, every soul completes me. Each and every soul completes me. I want you to live your life right now, when you leave today, just that no, you're here on purpose. We need Spirit. Spirit needs us. God needs us to shine its light, to do its work. And we need that infinite Spirit to be fulfilled, to find purpose and meaning in our life. And after that, we need each other. So take this moment right now and I'm going to invite you to close your eyes just for a minute. And in that powerful mind and thought of yours, and that open and available heart, just say to yourself right here, right now, I have everything I need. I let the Spirit and power and light and goodness of God fill me in this moment, that I may share and be all that God intends me to be. I know that right here, right now, I am perfect as I am. I'm doing it the best I can with the tools I have. And I'm open and available to learn and grow and know that I am one with God. The kingdom of God is mine right now. The Father lives within me. God lives within me. I know that. I am it. I believe it. And I'm here to share it by the light I shine. And I know that I shine that light. And I feel myself give a great big hug, not just to me because I know I'm on purpose, to my family, to my friends, to this community, and to this world at large, because we need each other. I let this go to the infinite mind of the one goodness, the one God. I say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. And thank you, thank you, thank you for who you are, for being here, for the light and goodness that you are. I need you to help me and all of us shine our light. And so it is.